All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. First thing on the agenda is reviewing the minutes. I sent those out earlier today. Joe, you have a comment?
Two things. One is on Jason's feedback. MSP is doing well is repeated. It's twice in that sentence. So I don't know if you're doing it for emphasis on purpose or generic. Um,
he was very emphatic.
that's why I didn't know if it was on purpose. So I
It
thought
was
I'd phrase
not on purpose.
it. um, and a clarification on the capital planning is that large projects have to use outside contractors. So by default, we, or rather planning, will use whatever those contractors use. It's not that the legislation requires to use their software per se.
Okay. Okay, so by law, all large projects basically have to use outside contractors. And large projects is over 1.5 million.
That's correct.
Have to use outside contractors, um, and thus uh, we will are dependent on the software that those outside contractors use. Is that right?
That's perfect.
Okay. Thanks for catching those. Any other corrections?
I didn't notice something.
Okay, I move that we accept the agenda with one of the MSPs is doing well removed, as well as the sentence below to be clarified. By law, all large projects over $1 million have to use outside contractors, and thus we are dependent on the software that those outside contractors use.
Seconded.
Okay, okay. Orla seconded. Let me take notes here. Remove. With following corrections. Moved. Okay, great. Thank you. Go around the room. Joe,
Aye.
Angela,
Aye.
Orla,
Aye.
and likewise I. Thank you. I just got a text from, yeah, she said he's running about 20 minutes late, running home late from work, so he'll be joining us a little bit later. All right. I was really hoping that we would have the last two meetings, we have not had representation from the schools. We were told that we would need to wait until January to see the proposal from the schools and their budgets, because we are required by the bylaw that created the MTC to review the schools' technology spend with respect to their administrative budget. And I think it's quite important that we do that before town meeting. And it's not just, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's not just reviewing the budgets, it's actually working with the schools to put in place the technology strategy and plan behind the budget. So we need to work on building those bridges and ensuring that next year we are aware of, not just aware of, but we're participating in those. So fingers crossed, I will reach out to um, um, the schools and hopefully
And are
before
the
our,
schools aware, I guess, of the expectation of the committee in terms of how they engage?
um, I've I've attempted to communicate this in the past, and it's again, this is not something we're creating. This is expected is in the town bylaw.
Yep.
So um, it's clear that there's not a full awareness of it. So maybe we can discuss that. In fact, do we have representative to the schools on our committee? I think we do. I think it'd be good to have somebody from our committee, sort of liaison to schools. Oh, schools administrative tech. We do. Joe.
Yeah,
You're the
we've
person.
been hadn't had a meeting with Ryan since the last time he was in our session, so I'll set something up and just remind him. I know it's potentially complicated because it's Northborough Southborough School District, and so we're one half of what's going on there, but it's still in the bylaws, so it just has to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll reach out to him right after the meeting.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Did the comment, Matt, mean that we want to like officially put the school information in the 5-year technology plan? So is that something that Ryan's going to be providing to us so that we can integrate that?
I think, yeah, that's a great point. And I think I've sort of adjusted the agenda for the last few meetings to sort of signal that, to say we'd like to find out what they're doing, and we want to adjust the strategy to make sure it's in accordance. But in reality, we shouldn't just be copying and pasting whatever they're doing into our plan. It needs to be an actual collaboration with us modifying the strategy for something that makes sense for the schools. But and in addition to that, in concert with that, we hope that their strategy would be affected by and or influenced by what's in our technology strategy, right?
Well, Joe, once you reach out to Ryan, maybe that could be part of the conversation that you have with him, is just sharing that 5-year document again. And then I'm happy to join you guys if we want to sit down, the three of us, and have a discussion about that also.
Sure.
That would be that's a great idea. I love that. That's perfect. And it's basically the same thing we're doing with all the other committees, right? And all the other committees and groups, and saying, what are they thinking about? What are we thinking about strategically 5 years? And what's the intersectionality? What are the deficiencies in our 5-year plan? Perfectly fine, of course. Nothing's sacred. If the plan needs to change, we'll be happy to change it. But there needs to be engagement, and I think that's what we're lacking right now, is that there's either not official buy-in or disapproval to what we're saying. There's just either avoidance or just some disconnect. So anyway, I think we're all on the same page. So thanks. Awesome. All right. So let me pull up this. Okay. Schools not in attendance. Okay. So I'm hoping that we'll have at least one more MTC meeting before. Is town meeting the end of March? Is that correct?
March 23rd.
Okay. We'll have one more MTC meeting before then, so we'll at least have some ability just to see it. Now, obviously, it's probably far too late for us to be able to influence it, but yeah, I know I'm speaking, preaching to the choir here, but one of the great things about the MTC is our ability to stand up at the microphone and say, the MTC has reviewed this and we approve it, we support it. So when there's certain citizens that stand up and say they disapprove of certain budget items, but it means we also need to be included in those discussions and not just be viewed as a pure check the box exercise. It means we were consulted, not just informed. So.
And it would be good, I guess, maybe during your conversation with Ryan to understand, because right now I think we are seen as a check the box or maybe a nuisance. And like, how do we change that in terms of how can this committee add value, even beyond obviously support at the town meeting. And I get from a school perspective, it's complicated because there's only half of the picture that we can influence or have input into, I guess, which probably dilutes also the impact that we can have. But it will be interesting to see if there's something we can do different in how we engage to make it a value add. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Absolutely.
town meeting, Matt, is this one of the meetings where we're required to give a MTC update? I am going to be traveling for business end of March, so I physically won't be here during that session. If someone else would be willing to give the update, I'm happy to throw together a couple of slides, but I won't physically be able to be at the town meeting this year.
Okay, yeah, it would definitely be appreciated if you could throw us together some slides as well as a standard flyer.
Yep.
And I'd love to do what we did last, I think it was last year. Was it last year we started doing QR codes as well? Links to the strategy, repeat that. In terms of
So
presentation.
do you want to actually do the flyer printouts, or do you just want to do a page with the QR code that links back to an online flyer?
How did we do it last year?
I think last year we still did both. We
Yeah.
did a page that had a QR code, but we also had the actual physical pamphlets.
So yeah, what's everybody else's thoughts?
I mean, it'd probably be more earth friendly. Maybe we do a very small number of things and just say, here's an example of what you'll get when you go online, but then more just have the paper with the QR code so they can get to it electronically.
My preference would be yes, electronic, but I'm guessing the audience preference might be more something in their hand.
They're kind of accustomed to walking the table and picking up all the accoutrement. For
Yeah, it's a good
for the
point. I mean,
maybe
a ton of paper there.
Maybe we have to do a print run and just tape down the QR code next to it.
Mhm.
All right. All right.
Okay. And so for presentation, I'm fine doing it. Either that or Joe or Orla. Do any of you have, either of you have a preference of standing up and presenting some slides at town meeting?
I
If we're
don't
talking
feel
about-
I don't feel the need, but if you need someone, I'm happy to do it, but I'm more than happy to defer.
Maybe if Orla does it, they won't even know the difference between
You
us.
wanna-
Oh, it's Angela.
Like,
You've
oh,
changed
it's
her
that
hair.
same old blonde person.
We have to work on the accent a little bit, but I have should be doable.
So Joe, do you have a preference?
Not really. I mean, I think my standard engineer uniform would not be the preference of town meeting. That's more at technical conferences. So.
Yeah. Okay, I'm happy doing it. So yeah, I'll do it this year. Thanks.
I'll send you all the stuff, Matt.
Thanks, appreciate that. Let's see here. Maybe just take some notes. Slides. And Angela, prepare flyer and slides. Town meeting. Okay, awesome. Great. So yeah, and the question that Orla asked earlier is something that we have been struggling with since the MTC inception, and so I'd love to get yeah, let's think about that in this document. What does successful look like, and how can we improve how we interface with the various different departments? How can we be seen as an asset as opposed to something to be ignored? So, related to that, I know we're sort of skipping agenda items here, but when we do reach out to the town departments. Jay asked if he could be simply included in those discussions, or made aware of those discussions. If he's available, he'll join, just for his informational purposes, and he's keen to help as well. And so I promised him that we would do so. So it would help him be aware of things that do come up in discussions. If he's available, he'll join. If not, that's fine. So.
And Matt, I have reached out just today though to Ryan to find some times to get with him, and then I couldn't remember the name of the contact of the DPW.
I can send it over. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll reach out to them.
Awesome. So yeah, actually, let's jump right let's skip down in our agenda items and discuss the reach outs. And so, basically, by the way, after our MTC meeting in January, Sam Stivers reached out to me and said he had watched the video. I'm constantly impressed with Sam. Like he donates so much time, and he has time to watch recordings of various other committees, and he's the representative from the select board to the MTC. And I think that by the way, they are having a meeting tonight, and that's the reason why Jay can't attend. So that's the reason why Jay is not joining us. But let me share my screen. And one thing that Mr. Stivers mentioned is that there are probably some other boards, committees that we should have representation to, or representatives to, as MTC. Ones that leverage technology and would be good to have liaisons with. Specifically, the select board. We don't have a representative to the select board. Also, you mentioned the treasurer, finance, accounting team, the planning board, and conservation commission. Let's see here. Yash currently has 2, and maybe we'll wait until he joins. But we'd love to give some thought as to how to distribute. It looks like Joe, you have 2 as well.
Yes.
Angela, you have
I have
4.
2.
You have 2. Yeah, basically, it'd be good to divide these other groups among our group, and so over the course of the next year, we start building those relationships. But let's hold off until Yash joins, if that's okay.
Yep.
And then we can have that discussion. All right. Moving on with the agenda. Town web priorities. Just FYI, I assisted Jay created a first draft for him for a couple of policies that he needed to create, and so he's reviewing those. I also sat down with him, discussed a little bit more the employee training that we discussed in our last meeting, and got a little feel for this. Basically, to sum up. I think, Angela, you weren't able to join us last meeting, but basically, there's been expressed interest in doing some employee training of town employees on technology, and some basic things like how to check email on your phone, and maybe possibly even do hands-on assistance with that, how to change your password, and how to leverage OneDrive and SharePoint. And in our discussions, we decided it's actually probably going to be more appropriate to do it on a per department basis. Because each department is going to have its own structure, its own purpose and collaboration, and how they leverage OneDrive and SharePoint. And so I committed to him that I'd help out with. I think other people here volunteered as well if they wanted, if we needed them. But I think I volunteered to just sort of do a pilot with the library, and the library volunteered their space, so they could use their space, and the library board of trustees would be willing to, I think, apparently shut down the library during the day for training sessions for their employees. And Jay has a few laptops, a small handful of laptops that would be able to supplement for those departments that already have some laptops. But um, anyway, so I've discovered that apparently there is not yet a OneDrive or SharePoint share for the library. So it's a greenfield. So it's not just training, it's actually sort of sitting down and designing. So I'm looking forward to um, sitting down with them. In fact, I think Orla, maybe given that you're the liaison there and I'm the appointee from the library, maybe I'll check with you on your availability, see if you have interest and availability. We can match up times to sit down with Ryan to think about how SharePoint and OneDrive should be laid out and structured based on their business processes, like what files do they share among each other and the staff and so forth. So,
Perfect. So, Matt, I'm sorry, just so I understand, is this the MTC giving technical training to the department?
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so the departments that we're associated with, we would ask them what kind of technical training they needed, and then work with Jay to make sure that those were in place, and then basically provide training to those groups.
So I think what you called out here is something I didn't think of, and I love that. What you said is reaching out to the departments. Jay was simply saying his biggest ask is he's not, basically, this is initially instantiated from Jay. He said, a lot of departments are not leveraging OneDrive like they should, right? They're not leveraging the tools, the resources that we already have. They're not being able to check their email from the phone and so forth. So he's basically just interested in getting some help training them on how to use the tools that are provided. And it sounds like not just, in some cases, not just training them how to use what's already in place, but helping them design and set it up. But I love your point is this probably should be a two-way conversation. Like, what technologies do they feel like they need trained on, in addition to what Jay thinks they need trained on?
Okay.
Because Jay's in the line of fire, of course, with all their questions and so forth. So I think it'll be a mixture of that and a mixture of what technologies they think, and then we'll put together these training sessions.
Yeah, one of the important things was that we raised in addition to the basics was to make sure people knew to go through the Iterian ticketing system at the end of the session, rather than just grab people in the hallways, because that's been a drag on both Jay and Hassan.
Yeah, how to use the ticketing system itself. All right. So yeah, so I think the sort of call to action here is if we could reach out, or I don't think that necessarily think we need to do a special reach out to the departments. I think next time we have Jay, we'll discuss with Jay about his prioritization, like which departments does he want to
Because
target
he's
in
going
which
to have
order.
to train us before we can train them, right? I don't know anything about the ticketing system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of these things we can reuse. Like I'm, I have access to a town account that has the privileges to get
We
access to
should just create
OneDrive.
a video library. I mean, like if
Yeah,
one person wants to do
yeah,
a training on the ticketing system, we create a little 5-minute video, and then we find a place to post them. And then, as new people come on, they can just tap right into the videos.
yes, I love that.
Yeah,
Taking
we
notes.
definitely talked about doing the videos, because that's always great for continuous onboarding to not be a drag. And I too would need, I'm happy to present any material or have dialogue with people, especially when we're talking basics or such initial training. But this is the only application of 0360 that I have to deal with in my life. So I live in that other world.
You can work for a competitor.
Yeah.
That's the issue. I'm sure for a fact that somewhere in Google, they have O365 deployed. But
I
anyway,
will or will I cannot especially on a
cannot
recorded
confirm
media.
or deny. Hey, Yash, thanks for joining.
Hey, sorry for tardy.
No problem. Thanks for joining right after You got back. So we're just discussing, Ash, about following up on the discussion on training of the different departments. And we're basically building upon the discussion we had before. And to sort of summarize it, Angela made a recommendation that not only should we be creating the pre-canned set of videos and content that Jay is interested in sharing with people, such as OneDrive, email, etc., and passwords. But we should, as us individually as liaisons to various different departments, we should reach out to those departments and ask them what kind of training, what technologies that they're interested in training their employees on.
Okay.
And it would be in addition to, and then we'll discuss with Jay on his view of prioritization, and just we'll start walking through the departments. And I mentioned I'm going to be starting with the library here soon. Another thing I mentioned before you joined is that the library, at least right now, doesn't leverage OneDrive at all. They don't have a OneDrive share. Jay will be setting that up and sharing with me, and then I'm going to collaborate with Ryan and Orla on sitting down discussing the structure of it, and then once we figure out the structure, then we can work out the training. So, did I miss anything? Or a summary recap for Yash?
Thank you.
Okay.
Are we last meeting? I think we had discussed that maybe there might be some sessions that we may help volunteer kind of to train various departments along with Jay. Is that also something that we're planning to do the next?
Yes, and I think it probably makes the complete sense if it does to this group. But I've proposed that maybe when a department or committee or whoever is up for training, the liaison joins that training or leads the training, etc. from us. And I'm happy sort of managing the content library for that, and I'm happy joining the trainings as well. So yeah, basically, if it's okay with this group, we can each be in charge of our respective groups training, but I'm happy to join and work together with you on that.
And if there are requirements or like for more than one person to be there, larger group of larger group that we are giving the training to, then sure.
Yeah, if there are larger, I don't know I guess maybe public safety, if anything, or be a larger group. But if we do need to do training of larger group, if it's more than myself and one of you, basically more than two of us, we would need to post a meeting. So
Okay.
basically, anytime we're congregating together as three or more,
Okay.
we have to post a meeting as MTC, which we could do. We can say MTC meeting, and it's training, and any of us can join.
Sure.
All right. Anything else on the training subject? Comments or questions? Okay. Great. Let me take one more note here.
I guess, Matt, just to wrap it up, so we're going to start with the library and then see how that goes and go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, the next steps there is Jay is going to be creating a OneDrive SharePoint share for the library. Once he does that, he'll let me know. Once I've heard from Jay, I'll reach out to you, just get your availability and match up with Ryan or Donovan's.
Perfect.
And then we'll plan out the structure, folder structure. Part of this is even before the folder structure, right? This is the great time to sit down, like, what are your processes? What are your business processes? How are you currently leveraging technology? Are you emailing any files? And that's like, anytime we hear email of files, that's like the big flag.
Yeah.
Great use of SharePoint. Let's stop using email.
Perfect. Okay, no, that's timely then, because I had just, as I said, reached out to him today, so I knew it would have been all the same type of topics anyway. So now we can just, kill two birds with one stone.
Awesome. Thanks.
Not only emailing a file, it's also like, hey, if you're emailing a file which is in OneDrive, you can actually send a link to it rather than email the link rather than sending the copy, which is
yeah.
Well, but not the same. Something of that sort. Same but not equal. Yeah.
And then how many times would a file get sent, but the access not provided to said file?
Yes, part of the trading
In
is,
tips.
Part of the training is part of the
Yeah.
training.
yeah. All right. We're jumping through the agenda items, which is perfectly fine. And we're allowed to jump between two. We don't have to follow it in sequential order, but this is good. So now for that time of the meeting where we get to discuss all the feedback we've received over the last month from our web properties. And some people have clicked on the button saying they really they love the website or they hate the website, and here's their suggested improvement. And nobody's clicked it. So either everybody loves it. So once again, I hadn't yet done it, but I will. I'm going to increase that percentage. I think it's right down to like 1% or 0% mandatory. The pop-ups. What percentage of users does the feedback? Would you like to give feedback? I'm going to increase that to like 5% or more, like 10%.
Have we thought, Matt, of doing just a straight MPS as opposed to trying to get, lots of feedback typed in? Just, usually the MPSs, would you recommend this website to somebody else? And then 0 through 10 type of scale. I don't know if that makes it easier for people, if they're more likely to respond.
The first, let me, it's the perfect time to share my screen here. Here's the current survey, it looks like. Rate your experience today. And it's just, they click on a star rating.
It's pretty simple.
And then if, trying to remember the,
if they give it a low rating, it prompts them
low,
to do
yeah,
more.
exactly. If it's less than 5, I need to remind myself where the dynamic,
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I said it. If it's below 5, then it asks them, would you like to report a problem? Yes or no. And if they want to report a problem, then it asks what their name is, what their email address is, in case you have questions.
And here I'm seeing it says skipped 2. Does that mean 2 people ever clicked on the button and they skipped?
Yeah, that's correct. 2 people responded and they gave, 2 people answered and they gave it 5.
Got
And
it.
so,
And that's since it went live?
yeah, that's like 3 months ago.
Okay.
And this is, yeah.
Do we know how many people have gotten to the website since it was launched?
Great question. So I did sit down with Jay, discuss the web analytics, and we agreed that for this next year, we would not add to the budget or pull out of the budget what I'd hoped to put in there, which was Pendo or Heap analytics journeys. I said, for at least for now, let's start with Google Analytics, and for a year, try that out. The current website, the town website, has Google Analytics enabled on it under a Google Analytics account that is run by Civic Plus. So it's not a town Google account. It's a Civic Plus account, and the way they've integrated it is sort of with with their own Google account. So they've shared through their Google account the Google Analytics results with Jay. And I requested, Jay, I think, was going to put a ticket in to Civic Plus to ask them to share the results with me as well. So Jay wouldn't have to do screen captures, screenshots of Google Analytics, and so I can start looking at it. And so he's going to do that. I haven't heard anything yet. I'll follow up with Jay, and we'll get that access. But I think it's pretty important that we get access. We can see the results. When I did see when Jay showed it to me in his office, it was something between about 6,000 or 7,000 unique visitors per month.
Okay.
So, correction, no, 6 or 7,000 page views per month. Number of unique visitors were certainly less. I can't remember what the number of unique visitors were. I need to get
Yeah,
access.
I was wondering if what is the population of the town? So at one point,
Population in town is about 11, 12,000, something like that. Is that right?
7,000 would be a very nice number.
Yeah, that's not unique. That's just page views. I was wrong. Sorry. I can't remember if unique visitors was in the hundreds or low thousands. I think it's hundreds. And not surprising. Again, I shouldn't be commenting without having the data in front of me. We'll do this in the future meeting, but I think that the most popular pages were um, meeting schedules. You know, when various different committees were meeting, and those are the most popular pages on the town website. But yeah, well, I'll get access to those, and we can share back in our next meeting. So anyway, going full circle back to the question of NPS, I feel like this is fairly simple. It's not the same as an NPS, but I feel like it's almost more lighter weight, lighter touch in terms of interface than asking somebody a question. Would you recommend the town website to a fellow resident? But what are your thoughts? What's everybody's thoughts?
I mean, that seems simple enough to me.
And how would we do that? Are you saying you just prompt it when someone comes to the website?
Well, right now the way it is
So
if
you
somebody either clicks on a feedback or on a certain percentage of users it's very low, like 1%, not 1.5, get this, get a question. Would you like to provide feedback today? Yes or no? And if they say yes, then they're prompted, please rate your experience.
I like
So,
would you recommend it because it may just get more people to respond. Because if someone says to me, would you like to provide your feedback? I automatically think, oh, that's a good 5 minutes, if not 10 minutes of my time. And I'm like, yeah, no, thanks. Unless, right, I have something negative generally to say. So, but if it's a quick, like, would you recommend it? Yes or no? You might get better response rates.
yes. Good
And I
point.
guess if you said no, you could have a text box to say, can you please share? Why not?
Okay, let me add to my notes here. Let me to look into that. See if we can simplify it and basically changes the language that would encourage people to rate the website. I think it's a combination thing above a combination of, first of all, we're not really prompting very many people in the first place. But then when we are prompting, are we turning, I think your point is, are we turning people away? And that's a good point. Have to review prompts for feedback on the website to see if they can be simplified and the percentage of users prompted is increased. Okay, I will look into that. Any other thoughts or questions about the website feedback?
There is a add-on module that's a chatbot feature that we didn't get as part of the initial package. I don't know if we could ask Jay to get a price quote for that. I mean, it might not be something we want to do right away, but with the growing, generative AI focus, it could be something that we might want to add sometime in the future, and it'd just be nice to know pricing on it.
Yes, to know, like, as well as the capabilities, like what can it do? Does it actually leverage large language models? Um, ask to. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't even aware that Civic Plus had a chatbot option, but
Yeah, I was just looking at the initial proposal that we got from them, and it was in there, as well as an administrative dashboard that should have all these usage statistics, I would think, that we're looking for.
was that a feature that we declined to have?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it's an add-on feature or anything. I was just kind of scrolling through here, but yeah, maybe we just need to spend some time with Civic Plus and get an understanding of what's out of the box and what's an add-on to what already comes with it.
Speaking of which, there is a module, a meetings and minutes module. Let me pull it up. Civic Plus. So board applications module. That's brand new. That is this Thursday. It's a webinar. I forwarded already to Mr. Haggerty, and he's going to be attending that. It's a webinar.
What's it called again, Matt? Boards?
Called Board Applications Module. So as of right now, all of our boards and committees in town, I think the authoritative, it's either a Microsoft Access database or a Excel spreadsheet. But this would be some module in Civic Plus that, and by the way, when you have somebody applies to a board position, I can't remember. Orla, do you recall when you applied to the board position, or Yash, was that a form that you filled out through Civic Plus or some other system? I can't recall.
I can't recall either. I feel like I just went on the website, right?
Yeah.
I think I went, did we go into Civic Plus to do our training? I think I went into it to do the training, but I don't think for the form. I think the form
The
was more
form
web
was
form.
integrated in the old website when I had done it actually, but
Yeah, I think it is a web form.
more, yeah, web form HTML, basic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just forwarding this invite, this webinar. Feel free to the MTC from Civic Plus, their marketing department. If anybody has interest in joining that and learning more, please do. Let me make a note in that minutes for Civic Plus module board board applications. That's what it's called. Okay. All right. We don't have any update on the secondary ISP. Don't have any updates on the synergies with school or next fiscal year a budget fiscal year for the schools. Notes. Okay, let's check the status of outreach to various different departments. Do we have any updates on? And actually, before we even do that, should we go ahead and? Oh, Joe, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on last meeting. I know I sent you some mail, Matt, but I did have conversation, some email with capital planning, and there's nothing additional for survey questions. The 2 pull quotes are, we don't have any hot button issues that requiring surveying for town meeting. Later in the thread, nothing we are looking to survey at the moment.
Okay, all right.
That's the answer.
Thanks. I appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and shift out. Yeah, skipping agenda items here again. I have not yet sent out the survey, but I definitely want the responses back before town meeting. So I'm going to do it very shortly here. And it sounds like we don't have any additional questions for capital planning. All right, let me share my screen again. Let's talk about the assignments, how we want to divide and conquer among ourselves, the various different committees. So, and as FYI, Yash, after our January meeting, Mr. Stivers, who's on the select board, reached out to me and mentioned that he would recommend that we also have delegates, representatives from the MTC assigned to some additional committees, specifically the select board, treasurer, finance, accounting team, planning board, and conservation commission. He also mentioned that we should probably just bundle up police and fire together with emergency management together in just a one group. So Yash, I think you had an additional one here. You had police and fire separate.
Police and fire.
Yeah. Which I think it will still be two different groups you're working with. I don't know if the town has any sort of emergency management beyond police and fire. Is there any other?
Last time when I checked with the fire chief, I don't feel there was anything that he mentioned. I think it was under his purview at that time that the emergency management system came under.
Okay. And I know we're
on to Chief Newell or not, but that he's the de facto leader now of that. Or
does anybody recall what our current status is? I should know it, but on a replacement fire chief, and we were working on getting a replacement fire chief.
The job ID is still on the webpage, so I don't know if that is closed or not.
Right. Oh, this being said, I think we'll just say, Jay is ex officio on the committee, so we don't need somebody beyond that for technology. But for these other groups, do we have any volunteers for taking
I'm happy
on?
to take one. I don't have a strong opinion, so I don't know if anyone else has a preference.
I can take one if that's fine.
I'd be happy to take conservation.
Okay.
Matt, what's the call out including personnel in select board mean?
I think there's a personnel board, or I think there's a personnel. There is a personnel board that is independent from the select board, but I think they report to the select board or something like that. I think.
Okay.
We should consult with Mr.
A bit like the
Stivers.
compensation committee being a sub of a company board, I guess. Okay.
So, yeah, I guess, Yash, any preference?
No.
Trustees or Orla?
No, you can.
I mean, if there's no preference, then I can take treasurer, finance, accounting team.
Okay. And I'm happy taking the select board. Yash, if you wouldn't mind taking the planning board. Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
we're populating the primary contact and everything there, right?
Okay. Yeah. I'll populate this and then share back. I think that all of these groups just use the main town website, but I'll verify.
Matt, if you need help with the select board, I think my facilities and building and zoning were pretty low tech departments, so I can assist you if you need anything with that.
Okay. If you're okay with it, Angela, I'll just we can do co-reps.
Sure.
Because we do have. It's a critical committee to have alliances with, and I know that you and I have had discussions with them in the past. So, That would be fantastic. Okay. All right, I will populate this out and send it out to the group. Do we have any, apart from Joe, thanks for following up with the capital planning committee. Fact, is capital planning on this group? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I was missing it. Is there anybody else who did some outreach in last month and that wants to report back on it?
I think I covered mine in the earlier meetings. There's nothing new. I guess one question I just wanted to pose is, what's the expectation on how often we're talking with the departments? I mean, I think historically it's almost been like an annual type thing, just given bandwidth and stuff. But I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to reach Sam's level of, integration, but like a quarterly check-in or something like that. Is that what we're trying to drive towards?
Yeah, I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this. My thoughts are annual is like the minimum bar. And then depending on the needs of the department, depending on how much technology they have and how engaged they are, more frequently. But yeah, what is everybody else's thoughts?
I mean, we talked about how do we get them to see the committee as an asset. And if they don't know who we are and don't have any understanding of what we're trying to do, they're never going to see us as an asset. So, I mean, if we could at least, maybe try to set a target within the committee to do, 2 to 3 times a year or something like that. So they start to know who we are, our names, stop by, say hello face to face, grab a coffee, something like that. That might at least start laying some of that foundation to even, have a relationship. So when we go into these discussions, they won't feel like we're just kind of showing up once a year and, quizzing them on their technical needs.
I think that makes sense. I was going to say quarterly, but I think you're right. Like, it depends on the department, and that may feel a little bit too much for some, and then for others maybe less. But I mean, if we target 3 to 4, and then
Yeah, I'll have to have a cooling off period after my my grilling for questions in one case.
So here's where
and I mean, yeah, I guess it depends too how engaged they are in this forum, right?
yeah, once again, the committees, these departments should be viewing this as a resource for them, a help to them, opportunities to ask town residents, which we typically get 200 to 300 respondents to the survey. That potential for feedback to them should be considered golden and valuable. And same conversations, like how can we help them believe that we are here to help, and they want to engage Joe, and they're calling Joe saying, hey, love the feedback, how can we influence your survey next year, as opposed to, yeah, it's going to take time. Yeah. So do we want to, Angela, I heard Angela say 2 to 3 times. Orla, I think you mentioned 3 to 4 times. Which one of those we want to pick?
I mean, what feels right to me is if the committees or if the department is active with high technology needs, maybe it's quarterly. If they're low tech and they don't really feel like they have, needs, then maybe it's just, 2 to 3 times. So
yeah,
based on how high tech they are.
2 to 4 times. Sounds good.
Great.
Okay. Once again, we're just walking through the agenda, make sure we're getting all of our items. synergies with school, not represented. School's not represented. Okay. And I already mentioned the town survey hasn't gone out yet, but it will go out very shortly, so we can get results before the town meeting. I don't have anything else on the agenda. Is there anything else on the agenda we should be covering for tonight?
So sorry, Matt, can you just say, you said you haven't sent the survey out, so we don't have results. When do we think the survey is going to launch and run, and when will we have results back?
Survey launch by this weekend, and my hope is to have it run for a month. And that would put us into March. Let's see here.
So if it launches on the
This weekend.
17th, then it would go till the 16th, which is,
Saturday.
before.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking if you want to have those results wrapped up into slides, that only gives me like 2 or 3 days.
Oh, yeah. What day is the?
You could do it for 3 weeks, right? Because
Yeah.
how does it get distributed?
We post on various social media. We'll post a banner on the website. We have a physical road sign at the transfer station that's put up. And yeah, the My Southborough blog advertises
Is
it.
there a way to, because today I got the email from DPW to say they're repairing something or other and there's going to be a change. So they obviously have my email. Is there, so I wonder if like the departments have distribution lists that they could use?
Good question. Does anybody know how DPW got your email?
I have no
Probably
idea.
when you signed up for a
Sign up.
sticker, I would
Pass,
assume,
yeah. For the past. So then anyone at least that goes to the transfer station, they probably have the email for. So it's like you could send it out to them, right, from the DPW. Like I wonder, I know it's a broader survey, but if
Yeah.
you
No,
have emails from
but
people-
there's a whole set of components around
Yeah.
for DPW responses.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they could, each department could send it with like a little blurb that says, you know, this is the town.
So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
We should all look at, in fact, our respective departments and so forth that we liaison to, and ask, do they have means of posting? And some departments have their own websites, like the library have their own websites. I know the library does their own surveys, and so they're a little bit, necessarily not the strongest interest in promoting our survey, but we can discuss that with them. But yeah, the DPW has been a strong partner in this in the past, especially putting their road sign up, etc. And we should be great if we can ask them if they could use their mailing list.
Yep.
So, Orla, do you feel comfortable asking them?
Yeah, no problem.
Outreach? Okay.
Yeah.
Or even put a sign up at the transfer station at the swap shop. Everybody goes to the swap shop,
Mhm.
and put some signs up there.
Does the sign have the QR code that you can just take a picture and get into the survey?
The road sign we've done in the past, and in fact, I even have an email thread with the employee, and let's remake the request for them to put the road sign first. I think that's the easy one, and then I'll let you follow up if you actually email it out. It's very simple. The road sign has only a certain number of pixels, certain number of characters. And so we just use sboro.org.
Okay.
And it's a domain that I own.
Yeah, you're right. If you're driving past, you can't exactly get out and take
exactly.
a picture.
And I just forward it directly to the survey, and that's all the domain does.
Got it.
sboro.org.
Perfect.
But I'll send out the instructions and send it out when I release the survey. So if we could each reach out to any social media channels that any of us are on, if you wouldn't mind posting it and promoting it. I live on Woodland Road. It's kind of a busy thoroughfare. I've commonly thought of putting up a sign in front of my house. But
we can promote it in our neighborhood scenario.
Yeah, if you have neighbors, please promote it. I think moving towards a data-driven, feedback-driven town is a good thing. So, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, if
Okay.
we could definitely, because we've got a little free library in front of our house, and my wife tends to several around the town. So I'll can hard copy whatever we have and just drop a few in the libraries.
Thank you. To that point, maybe I should put up a sign. There is a little free library at the train station.
Yeah, we take care of that one all the time because it's right.
Oh, do you?
Skipping a jump.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My son built that as the Eagle project. So, but I think that's a great place, like especially the train station, putting up a little QR code.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're standing waiting for the train, you've nothing
Tape it
else.
on, tape it on the inside, and it's
Perfect,
easy
yeah.
peasy.
I've got a laminator, and I could just laminate some sheets, and yeah, send that out. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for everybody's help promoting that. All right. Anything else we need to be discussing tonight?
So we're going to run it for 3 weeks, so you'll have the results by like March 9th. And then we'll be able to wrap them up into slides after that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as a reminder, we had for the specific select box responses, it's pretty easy to take a look at the results of those. For the free form results, where people are typing in their sentiment and so forth, we have a couple of data scientists in town who have volunteered and have helped us in the past, and so I'll re-engage those individuals as I think volunteer consultants, as we've called, and they've analyzed it through some Python scripts, etc. So it's been helpful. Okay. Any other? Oh, let's review schedule to meet next. It'd be great if we could squeeze in one meeting before town meeting if possible. Angela, when do you leave on your trip?
8:15,
And when is town meeting again?
the 23rd.
Third.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
So that would mean we either get together the 12th or the 19th.
Yeah,
Town meeting is 3rd.
the 23rd of March. Yeah.
If the survey is going to close on the 9th, maybe do it will be better so that we can get the time to prep.
Does 12th work?
Okay, so Angie, your proposal is closer to when the survey ends, like the 12th? Or did you want to do? Yes, okay. What does everybody's schedule look like for the 12th?
Pretty
Works for me.
I have something that runs until about 7, so I'd be late, but that's fine if that's okay with everyone else.
Or we could start at 7 if that.
Do you want to start? Start at 7 that night?
If that's okay with others.
Well, yeah, if it's okay with everybody else, we'll start at 7, go to 8:30, but hopefully we can wrap it up even before then.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, let me make a note of that. Next meeting is March 12th at 7 p.m. Okay. All right. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Let's go around the room. Orla,
Aye.
Angela,
Aye.
Dash. We didn't catch that. So yes. Okay. Right. And Joe.
Aye.
Likewise, aye. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Next time. Bye.